going to give it about the 1 minute mark as usual. This obviously gives me a little bit of time to get everything situated. I'm ready to go. Alrighty then. Kind of get back like so. Got my mouse pad. In case anyone ever super old. This is 2000 is the year of which that was made. Wireless mouse, which is fairly actually new, but you know, let's go ahead and get everything situated with the pillows. We're about 10 seconds away from the 1 minute mark. We've got a full day worth of news to talk about for the most part. I wish we all had NASA's internet, that'd be nice. So yeah, today was a pretty eventful day, is the best way to say things. So for those of you who don't know, this is kind of, I don't think it's common knowledge, but it could be. I live in the greater Orlando area, and if there's any WWE fans out there, I feel sorry for you because you are missing a pretty good performance right now. The WWE is in town. I live right down the road from the arena that they're in currently. In fact, I will probably be able to hear the fireworks when they are done with the concert itself. Or not the concert, the show. When that is over, they launch fireworks, and I will probably be able to hear that from my room. Hopefully you guys can hear it too, because that'd be cool. We got the folding grip how it is kind of supposed to be. We actually needed to pivot it in a different spot, so we gotta see if we can work on that. Yes, I was just hating on the WWE, but I think it's cool that we have an economic stimulus in town. So get off that high horse you got, girl. Yeah, no, they're here. What else? So I woke up about 12. I was supposed to get up earlier to cut the grass, and then it didn't happen. I forgot to set an alarm earlier to cut the grass, basically, so I had to cut the grass in about 100-degree weather. 100-degree heat, and it was pretty humid outside. That's the worst part, is when it's just humid. The humid part. Like I said, that's just the worst part. So I went out there about 12:15, 12:30 to start cutting the grass. So I pulled the mower out. We have a pretty big industrial sized mower. It's about a 36-inch deck, I believe. That's about how wide the deck is. Twin blades. It's a pretty fun mower to use. Gets the job done fairly quick. So yeah, we were. Just realized that needs to actually fold. So I was using that to mow the grass. Unfortunately, I couldn't get it to start. My dad came home pretty quick from out grocery shopping, got it to start, cut the grass, came inside, took a shower. So there's no good storytelling right there. The good storytelling comes in when I'm after the shower. So I get out of the shower, I'm sitting in my room, I'm getting dressed. Dad knocks, asks if I am dressed. dressed? I say yes. Comes in, says, hey, I just saw a water moccasin down in the lake. Where's your pellet gun at? In case I see it again so I can pop it. I say, okay, no problem. Grab the pellet gun, show him how to use it, walk down to the lake to see if I can't find the water moccasin, can't find the water moccasin anywhere. Yep, it just basically couldn't find the water moccasin anywhere. And then we walked down there a second time, and we walked down there the second time. The water moccasin was sitting up basically on our shore, sunbathing, and because snakes are cold-blooded creatures. So that's when we kind of had to like try to kill it. I didn't take any shots at it with the pellet gun. And Dad kind of got in the way of me being able to do that, so I couldn't. But yeah, it's kind of happened, I guess. No, I don't get a pass on mowing. Not at all. I am mowing pretty as much as I can, basically. Every single time Dad says to mow the grass, I get to mow the grass. That's basically what that comes down to. So we were down there looking for the water moccasin, didn't find it. I didn't get a shot off of it. When I did find it, I don't know if Dad was able to kill it or not whenever he was looking for it, because he went out on a different occasion to see if he could find it. I don't know if he found it or not. And then I went out for the day. So I went out with, well, okay, so I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Yeah. We just have water moccasin is pretty much the only problem that we have, because obviously it's one of the most poisonous snakes. That's obviously the only reason why. And we have a dog that is walking around, so that'd be a huge, huge, huge problem. Have our dog bit by a water moccasin. Anywho, so I'm gonna stop building so I can focus on the story, so I can get this right. Right. I live on a lake, and it's right beside a boat ramp. Right. The boat ramp goes into. We're gonna do this with Legos. So this piece here is gonna be the boat ramp, and it comes down into the water like so. And then there's two docks. There was two docks. You have your first dock. They came out like this. And then there's, we'll freaking color coordinate this for all I care. Grass. And then another dock that comes out. And it does this. So you got the boat ramp comes down into the water, and then you had two docks. My neighbors were backing down the boat ramp one day, and they took out this dock. They ran into this dock, basically destroyed it. It was falling apart. They were going to fix it, and then half a year went by before they fixed it. And their solution to fix it was to just throw other pieces of wood on top of wood that was falling into the water. So me and my dad basically just took it and we threw it into a burn pit right over here, and we burned all of it. And that dock is no longer here. This dock over here is what we call the long dock, or what I've always called the long dock. And it's so old that at this point, it's older than my dad. The last time this was fixed was when my dad was about not even born, basically, was the last time this dock was new. So this dock, right? you take one step on it, and the pieces of wood that you're standing on will do this. So my next door neighbors are out on their boat today partying, and instead of pulling the boat up into here, and there's a tree over here, so this is a shallow area here, and this is also a shallow area. So we have we've got beach line that we could use. Of course, you're going to do this. Got beach line that you could use on either side to pull your boat up into, right? Hey, Jim. So instead of pulling the boat up to here, they've been using the end of the dock over here, and they just park their boat right here. Someone holds the dock, and then all the other people come in and off of the dock. So there are two people, we're going to use yellow, that are walking down the dock like this together. And the dock that they're walking on the edge because it's so unsafe that you have to walk on the edge, otherwise the boards will snap out and you'll fall straight down, and that's an easy broken leg, broken ankle. Well, they're walking right behind one another along this edge over here, and all you hear is like a and you know the dock is about to break. So this dock side over here breaks and falls into the water. First person goes over, no problem. He basically jumped into the water at this point to just get away from the dock. This person doesn't know what the hell is going on because he's hammered. He's been drinking all day. His leg fell straight in between two boards. So if you think of this as boards, this is where his leg was, like this. And he goes down into the water like this, right beside the dock, with his leg stuck on the dock. So I look over, and I'm looking at him, and his leg is sticking out of the water in between two boards on the dock, and the rest of his body is just buried underwater. He's drowning at this point, and there are people in the boat, right? So we're going to add bystanders in a lighter yellow. There are people in the boat. There's two of them here, and then there's people on the shore that are eating. You've got this one guy who comes rushing over here. He actually doesn't have any legs, so he stands right here, and now he's just watching. This guy is so worried that the boat is going to drift away that he stays over here, and he's just yelling things. And then we have one guy who comes down the dock this way, and is just standing right here, and then the space between them is in the water, and they're just looking at their friend's leg who's sticking out of the water, who, mind you, at this point is still underwater, drowning. Well, these guys are just yelling at this guy. This guy's yelling back and forth at these guys, and they're all trying to figure out what this guy's doing underneath the water. He's obviously stuck. He can't get his leg out of the wood, and to twist your leg out of this wood, it's so jagged and splintery that you're going to get a pretty nasty cut twisting your leg out of it. This guy ends up grabbing his friend and pulling him up above water, which is good because at this point he was panicking, starting to drown. It's holding him up, helps him get his leg out, and then these two guys are yelling things back and forth at one another about what they should do. The paraplegic guy eventually convinces this guy to move down shore to the shoreline to get up here, and then this guy is kind of worried about his keys and is searching around through here. This guy says, whatever, fuck this shit, I'm out, comes down here. Paraplegic guy is just stuck here now because he can't go anywhere. Still talking to this guy. This guy is still looking for his keys. Paraplegic guy says whatever, gets back on the boat, so on and so forth. And then this guy gets out of the water, and then so on and so forth. They go on about their day, right? So, moral of the story, if there is an old as shit dock, right? And I'm talking old. This thing is beyond old. Your first idea is probably not going to be to walk down it. It's a very, very good idea to not walk down it, because walking down it is what's going to get your ass hurt, killed, injured, something, right? It's not a good idea. Don't do it. The second moral of the story is to not drink and party all day long, because that's what they were doing. So alcohol and then water do not mix very well at all, because it's very possible that you'll end up falling into the water and in your drunken state might not recognize that you are now drowning and you fireworks. So I think that's all of them, but I hope that you guys heard it so I'm not a liar. But yeah. So yeah, like I said, just it's smart not to mix certain things. Alcohol and water is one of them. Um, the best advice that I can shut up, Yana. The best advice that I can give you guys for all my up and coming people in chat who are almost of age, um, is to basically just practice it safely. Do it in an environment where people can watch you. So home would be a good idea for those of you who have family that is caring and loves you. So all y'all are assholes. Y'all knows it's. Why is this like this? Um, yeah, the other thing is, man, I bet this guy kind of had this thought, right? That kind of just flashed through his head. Because as he's sitting here in the water, practically drowning at this point, his buddies were sitting there arguing about what the best thing to do was, right? And they asked me if they could use my dock to get him out of the water. But my dock was far, far away. And when I say far away, I mean very far away. Your first priority is to get your buddy out of the water, because your buddy could very well have a very messed up leg. And it's a good idea to assess how messed up his leg is so that you can get the car, if it is pretty messed up, and get him to a hospital. But nah, they wanted to argue back and forth and then asked to use my dock, though my dock would require him to swim. And it's not exactly the most easy of things to do when you have a broken leg, by the way. You kind of need your whole body in order to swim. So what else happened today? Because it's the WWE is in town, the police force has been in full swing. I was so nervous coming home because there's just so many cops. There's cops everywhere, and that's coming from someone who's white and privileged. Did I miss something, Jim? So yeah, it's basically going to be this, because this has to rotate and move. At the same time, I needed to actually change the pivot point at which this pivots to something kind of way up here in the front, believe it or not. And because this is now here, this is actually going to be really difficult to move. I did, right? Because I had to be careful. I had to actually, like, legit think about what I'm doing. I couldn't just like blow by someone doing 100 on the highway anymore. I had to. There were cops out. I really wish that those two holes, but I guarantee those two holes are not going to line up. I can do it. I'm probably not gonna be able to get these holes to line up either. I basically just need to change how these pivot. Basically what's going on. Just need to kind of lower this pivot point so that this actually comes down flush down here and we have room up here is what we need. Okay, that's interesting. Hey, Bricks. Yep, cops will gladly ruin your life for no reason. All right, see, that's too far in. Let's see if we can do some complex voodoo bullshit and get anywhere. See, that's not going to work. Yeah, I haven't gotten a gun pulled on me, but you never know when it might happen, so. We just need to pull this backwards just a little bit, which is why I wanted to use this piece, but it turns out that's not going to work. Oh, see, yeah, that's like way too far forward. Nope. So that's off, huh? What if we replace this with the headlight piece and then drop that down by just a little bit? I think I actually tried that to begin with and that didn't work. Seems close. Ah. So that is actually now what will be used as our pivot point. So we can actually delete this out. Place this with, where's that 2x2 at? Nowhere? Alright, you'll work. Place that as that. So now we need to get this to fold. We just gotta, all we have to do in real life to make it sturdy, we can do it now actually. Grab this, paste this here, and that will reinforce the headlight pieces. And then we just have to take, and on the upside here, reinforce how these pieces are in place. And we should be able to do that using something kind of like this, I believe. Or is that too far in? I think that's too far down. Let's find out. Basically, it just comes down to reinforcing it. Okay, so that's on the same slope, so just take a 4, throw that down like that, and then find out where the ratio is for this. So that will fit there, and that will fit there, like so. That's how you make it sturdy. Just like that. I'm not really depressed that school starts tomorrow. I'm more or less upset because I have a critical thinking and ethics test tomorrow that I could not really study for because my notebook was lost on Wednesday. I replaced these by 3s just to give it something else to grab onto. The AC just kicked on, so you guys will probably hear that going in the background. All right, now we have to fold this somehow so that the rest of the gun can fold it again. But I think that involves actually having to take out these to fold the rest of the gun in, because I don't think the gun will actually fold with those. Oh no, 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 no. All right, before we do that, we're gonna save, just so I don't lose any of the progress that we've been doing. These don't fold. Okay. Ooh, we got a lot going on, Jim. For only 1 week. See, these will move forward and up, which will push these up as well, but they don't seem to want to move just yet. Ah, I see. You don't believe that you are connected to there. I got you. Hey, mate. So these are going to fold forward-ish, like so. See that you also do not believe that you are connected to there. You are now, though. This wheel folds. Dang. Now, that is a problem because of this right here. So we are still having issues. This, which means this needs to go. What am I doing? I don't need a full bar running through there. I could just use these. Duh. Silly ass me. Basically, what we're trying to do is we're going to get all of this in there so that we can get everything folded nice and neat like it's supposed to be. Oops. Oh gosh. I have no opinion about them, I guess. I don't know why you would ask that. It's kind of strange. Why is this here? Why are you there? Is that what was blocking me this whole time? There we go. All I'm doing is using Kara's mechanism, though. So finally, all right. Wow, this is actually touching. That's how close of a fit that is. Wow. And these aren't connected at all, like they're supposed to be. Mm-hmm. I think if we just delete this out, let's move this. Okay. Oh, because you're hidden. That's why. Let's grab you, move you, grab you, move you. There we go. Now you're back to where you need to be. Delete that. And should be able to replace it with the U. So, yeah, doing changes like that would really suck, but we have LDD, so we don't have to worry about that. Luckily, it's one of the merits of LDD. Like, I'm just going to change this entire sidewall over here so that we're using really large big bricks, basically. All of the connection and wobbly bits that I need to work on are basically coming after I finish the gun itself. I was actually going to try to work on that a little bit today before going. I was going to probably use like lightsaber pieces and clip hinge type pieces to work on getting it to stabilize when it comes out. The tagging thing worked. I saw it. I'm not so much concerned with like auto locking if once it flips out. I'm more or less concerned more about just getting it to fold and fold correctly, because that is not easy to do. All right, so this is everything folded up at this point. Now what we're going to try to do is unfold everything to see if it still retains what it needs to retain. Whoa, goodness, not what I meant to do. Which one do I start with? Not that one. The heck? Weird. Comes up like that. Stock goes in there. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to get this to fold out because that trigger guard is actually connected. So let's unconnect that for a moment. This is going to fold out like this. This is hopefully going to be there. And this is going to be way off. That's what I thought. It's going to be way off. So I need to come up with a way to connect these. What are you? There's basically no way of connecting these without destroying everything, is what it comes down to. We could try to make the bottom one longer. I think we have 7 is the longest by the half Technic pieces, I think. So let's check this real quick. Yep, 7's the longest one. The problem with this is that these have to also be the same ones, so these actually have to turn into 7s. Yeah, the trigger is going to be a super, super long trigger, and the whole goal is to just have it fold with the gun, basically. Yeah, it's going to be difficult, but we'll get there. Don't worry. We can do it. See, this doesn't fit together. Right, so if we can rotate that out like so. And then basically I'd have to add where's the normal ones at? Plops it there. And then plops that there. And that would basically be the trigger guard, and then this would just fold correctly, hopefully. What is this? What are you? Why? No. I don't want none of that. So let's see if we can get this to actually fold. I just want it to fold back up, because if it folds back up, we can start work on other things. Remember that all of this is going to be pinned to the front of this bar. I don't really want to do a minigun. Miniguns are kind of overhyped in my opinion, but ooh. See, the problem is down here with you. long as it folds up like that. And then that does that. And we're good. That's basically how it's going to fold. So this mechanism right here is fine for that. So the trigger was going to be this long thing, and the reason the front of this is open is so that it could just kind of swing over out of the way, basically. But we're not going to do that just yet. We actually need to fold this. I could do a minigun. The problem with doing a minigun is that it's just so big, bulky, and I'm confident in this build being sturdy, right? For the most part. As for the minigun build, I'm not confident at all about it being sturdy, because I'd really want to do rotating barrels, and it's super easy to do rotating barrels in LDD, but in real life it's not, and I'd almost be lying to myself if I thought I could do it and get away with it in LDD as it being sturdy. I'll try to take a look after stream. This is basically going to be the trigger. It's going to be super, super long. It's going to come down like that. And then it'll basically, as the whole rest of this is pushed upwards, this will rotate upwards like so, and then it'll be out of the way of this. And trigger will come down, and it'll be here. Now then the hard part is the fact that we need to make a trigger that has a somewhat of a spring to it to push this forward, but at the same time have a, it's complicated but we're gonna try. So basically my thought process is we can use various we need to put a spring back here. That's what we're going to do. We're going to put a spring back here to push forward on the trigger. Okay. So the spring is going to be able to move up and down freely, and that will help it a little bit. So we actually need to move this back. So the spring is going to be sitting behind this trigger. Like so. Right? So the goal, we actually need to extend this out by a stud if we can. Sweet, I'm glad it worked out. The goal is to constantly have a rubber band that's pulling this back, but not have the trigger always pulled back, basically. It needs to be staying in this position and then be able to be pulled like this, which means we're going to have two opposing forces. So there's a difference between springs and rubber bands. Rubber bands contract like this. Springs push outwards. Rubber bands pull inwards, springs push outwards. As long as the spring's outwards push is greater than that of the rubber band's inwards push, this trigger will flip down with the rest of the gun, but not be able to be pulled until a finger or some form of mechanical action is applied to the trigger to also compress the spring, which is why we've now added a spring to the inside of the FMG9. That also moves up and down. That's simply to help it move out of the way whenever the gun is folding. So we're going to see if we can't get the gun to fold up now. Move this out of the way up to there. Move that up. Oh, this is back. And we just need you to flip on around like so. And we have a folding machine gun. It doesn't stick out enough because basically, let's go ahead and make this invisible. Well, what happened is, how I would like for this to actually work is this piece here to be replaced by the one with the hole in the middle, and we move all of this forward by half of a stud. And then your spring is going to get a little bit of compression and always be against the trigger. But I can't do that in LED because I can't compress the spring at all. Like if I try to drag on this piece that actually gets compressed, all it does is pick up on the front portion of it. So that's the downside to LED. I can't actually compress this spring like I need to demonstrate how this would work. So just kind of have to take my word for it, basically. Night, Dave. That's what I want to do, but LED's not going to let me do that. So we got all sorts of different little pivot points. We got the spring here, we got the trigger up here. This is part of the trigger guard. This is the main grip. This is for part of the stock. Got a lot going on. So yeah. So come up. You're going to do this again. Yeah, you're going to do this again. Have that come up like that. And then have this lock into place based off of some stuff back here. It's going to have to be developed and thought about. Have the grip fold out with the trigger guard as that does that. Obviously this pull down with that. This just kind of align like so. This would pull down as well because there'd be a pin between these. And then the trigger would come down, run into the back of the spring, and then be stuck there. And yeah, that is our wonderful folding machine pistol. So I've obviously made 2 of them because you have to akimbo them according to Modern Warfare 3. But no, I'm actually just going to have one folded, one not folded off to the side, basically is what's happening. So, yep, going to do that. This is going to come down like so. Wrong way. Make sure that goes there. Oops, wrong one. Oh, trigger's in the way. Forgot about the trigger. Now that the trigger's added, gotta get that out of the way. So that's gonna fold up. The front of the grip is gonna push it. Rubber band is gonna stretch out just a little bit. You probably have to actually replace rubber bands in this one. We're gonna. That will come down like so. This will come down like so. And then boom. There we go. That's what we got. So at this point, all we got to do is add the front grip that folds in here, and then the bolt charging system, and then the carrying handle. So yeah, we are actually, believe it or not, almost done. So all the work that I'm going to be doing is basically going to be on this one over here. So that, because this is all the folded angles, I know how much room that we have to work with. So first things first is actually figuring out where this front grip is going to go. And my AC just kicked back on, so bear with me, guys. So, yeah, we are going to actually delete all of these groups because I really need to remake all the groups, believe it or not. I've been messing with everything so that it all needs to be redone. I'm going to hide that group and we're going to work on this group. First things first, we're going to delete out this and delete out that. We are then going to place one of these here and a 6 through there. All right, Jim. Have fun recording if you're recording. Is that there? This probably sticks down quite a little ways. Probably do a 6 if we can. How far does the 6 stand up? That sticks up pretty far. Yeah, the foregrip's gonna this will go up first, this will come in next, stock will come around. That's how that's gonna work. We're gonna actually bump this down to a 5 so that I have enough room for the bolt and stuff coming through the top of it. There, place that there. That goes there. Place that there. Place this here. It's 4 plus 4. And then magazine will be sticking at the bottom. The only problem is the magazine's not going to be this long. Magazine's actually going to have to be pretty short on this model because of how all of this works, unfortunately. Unless, of course, I move this up and then make this really long so that it folds flat up to here, but we could do that. That'd be a little complicated. My dog? What do you mean dog? As in like my... What are you talking about? Oh, FMG, I was about to say, man. I think the best thing to do is probably just take a look at Caro's FMG9 since that's exactly what I based mine off of. We're going to go ahead and get this bolt in place because the second we get this bolt in place, we'll be good to go. In terms of, ooh, that is a problem. So this shell ejection port right here is going to be hard. You actually have to see the exposed spring on the other side as this opens. And we're actually going to have to cut that over here as well. Ah, I see. So we actually need to cut that like so. Ooh, that sticks out. Oh, okay. So we guess you put it in this way. Okay. So basically the shell ejection port back here is actually only going to be like 1 stud wide, but we're going to make it work. Don't worry. We got this. All right. So the bolt that's going to come in here needs some space to move. So that'll basically be the shell ejection port. We can actually delete this out. We're not going to use it. We're just going to use this as our base until we finish. So go like that. Delete that out. Bring this one up. You can see there's a little drop right there. That's what we're basically doing here. And this is just a slot forward. The rest of this should be filled in up here. Aside from a little little bit of a portion that sticks out right here. It's gonna basically serve as the spot where the rubber band goes for the bolt. That was something that I wanted to do. So now we're just gonna fit a charging handle into this box. So the charging handle that I was going to do is actually going to be upside down to take advantage of the spots that we have. We only have one stud wide gap here, so this is how we're going to take advantage of that. So we're just going to throw these green pieces on for now. This is just going to set up where the charging handle is going to go. Watch and learn. This took me too far. Two there. Grab a 1x8, sling it on across. So turn this on around. Oops. Grab this and duplicate it on around. Now we can delete all that. So now we have charging handle sticking out on either side. It's just kind of a box shape, to be honest. So just going to do this. And that. And now we can just design a charging handle system and whatnot to go backwards. Heck, what is this? Why are you here? I grabbed the wrong piece by accident? But there for a reason that I just don't remember it being there for a reason? Weird. So yeah, that's going to go there. That'll help reset the rubber band. Now we just got to double stuff it up just a little bit right there to make sure that it's not going to come flying off. Rubber band goes in there. Goes in on up. See, this comes actually all the way back to here. We actually need to change this piece from 16 to a 10 would probably be better to give me room to work with here. Actually need to put 2. Carry this over. And carry this backwards. So 4 there. So just like that, we develop our shell ejection port. Obviously, we can't use the lock open feature or anything like that, but for the sake of realism, should be okay. And the bolt will only move back 2 studs is the available length I believe I have. Yep, because of this and how that works. But that is almost a completed folding machine gun 9. What we're going to do now is put in the rail and the charging, or the carrying handle, and we're good to go. So to do that is just a matter of copying and pasting a whole bunch of jumper plates. Like so. And then you can see the rail system. And thank the Lord we got templates for that. Take it on back and then just delete out what we don't need. And then we just got to design the carrying handle and we'll be done. And obviously the magazine, but I don't think we'll be doing that this stream. I think we'll just do that a different stream. All right, so we're going to leave that much rail section back there. And we're going to leave that much rail section back up there. So we can delete out all of this. Yes, I know it seems a little redundant to do all this. I know. Now we're just going to build up our carrying handle. We got a 14 of an area to work with. So actually carry this one up by just 1 more. Slope here. Should be pretty simple. It's probably going to be about 3 of these. It's actually going to be a little short. I still think that'll be a little short. Well, we're going to sacrifice the front rail section that we can obviously see in the picture in order to get this the correct length. Oh well. That's about it for correct length, like the opening between there and there. And now then, that needs to stick out. And this has a slight slope to it. So the slope that I want is going to be 6 studs worth of sloping. We get something like this. I actually might drop these. So fill that in. Hello. That should be it. Save as. Assembled. Pretty good. So yeah. Now all we're going to do is make sure that everything unfolds, and then we'll be good to go. Middle section 3 studs wide. I'm assuming you mean this right here. I could try, but in case you haven't noticed, I'm in a little bit of a rush. I kind of want to play Smite, but I also want to finish this gun at the same time. Conflict of interests, if you want to say that. Oops. That comes down like so. Flip this back down. That goes there. That goes there. I don't really care about getting them all perfectly lined up or anything like that right now. Yes, I do. Crap. I always got to. like that. Trigger will come down. So spring would also come down. Spring's still up in its up position. We'll leave it in the up position. And then this should rotate outwards. I wonder if I can make this one stud longer. I have a feeling that I can't because it won't. Yeah, I can't make that one stud longer. We'll leave it like it is. Put that like so. I don't feel like playing Forza much anymore. Welcome back, Jim. I don't know, I'm just not much into car games anymore. I think like my favorite car game of all time was more casual is probably why. So Midnight Club Dub Edition 3 was like favorite car game of all time. And that again, it's probably because it was more casual of a thing. But though customization was still pretty good. Are you trying to open something that you can't open in LVD? Like, in particular, I could think of large files, corrupted files, or something like that could crash LVD upon installation. Or trying to open it, basically. So, if you have any of those that you're trying to open, that could be a problem. Now we gotta delete out this one. And duplicate this one, fold it back over, and then we're good to go. Yeah, we'll probably make that a 3 stud wide on stream later. We'll probably fill this on stream at some other time. But yeah, this is what we got. This was the last gun. I'm excited to get it nearing completion. We still have actually a lot of work to do on this. So work-wise, what we have left to do on the FMG9, the face close view of me was nice. Basically, the work that we have left to do on it, all of the work that we have left to do on it relates squarely against when it unfolds, locking everything into place. That's all the work that we have left to do on it. So Locking the grip into place. This I don't particularly mind because I'd probably use a rubber band to lock this into place so that it auto unfolds with everything else. And then locking this into place as well. So these two things we need to lock in place somehow, which requires some hard work, at least to say. So we're going to probably do that in another stream, and then in that stream as well, we'll probably switch up this area up here, A-bricks, to the 3-stud wide. I've already launched the Xbox. I'm ready to go in terms of starting it up. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and join this party so that I'm ready to go. And then yeah, I'll be off to play. Did you get disconnected from Matt's party? All right, I'll invite him back. Oh, never mind. Oh boy. I'm ending stream off here. Remember to comment, rate, and subscribe for more videos similar to this one. Follow me Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And then check out my website, bluedomeister.woodley.com. So, see you guys later.